Welcome back to MIA Unplugged. My name is Luz Abreu, your host or co-host, that doesn't matter. And I'm here with my amazing host.
Co-host, doesn't matter, Anthony Spitaleri. And so today's episode, we're going to talk about first-time home buyer guide and the essential tips to buying your first home or second home. Just first home in general, we'll go with
That doesn't
in Miami.
matter.
That's right.
Do you guys think that we were not going to talk about real estate? Of course! Here we are, and today's episode is brought to you by Sunset Home Mortgage. Dale.
Dale. In the first step, let's say step number one. What would you say step number
The
one
step
is?
number one that I tell all my buyers is when you have this little thought in your mind that says that you want to explore the idea of buying a house, the number one thing you need to do is to find the best real estate agent that is going to guide you through the process and take care of every step of the process. Because when you are working with someone that is experienced, that they know what they're doing, that they have the right circle, because this is how I describe real estate all the time. I say, like, real estate transaction is like, let's say you're going to go to Orlando and you're going to take the highway. Imagine that every car is a part of the transaction. So if every car, they are going on their own head, then something bad can happen. But if everybody is going, they're following the rules, they're following the speed limits, we were going to go wherever is the desire, whatever is the goal, we're going to get there on time and we're going to get there safe. So that's exactly the power of the great real estate agent, having that full spectrum of the transaction to make sure that you go to the closing table feeling happy, feeling that everything was done for you correctly.
Right. And the importance of, because it's a team sport,
Yes.
as you mentioned, the importance of working with the right team is you want to close on the house, so you got to get to the end of the transaction.
Of course.
So you always got to start with the end in mind.
Yes.
And that's why it's important to start with a great real estate agent who also has a great team.
Absolutely.
But let me ask you this. Should you start with a real estate agent first, or should you get pre-qualified?
Well, I will say you need to start with the real estate agent first, because the lender is going to be recommended to you by the real estate agent. And this is what happened. It happens to me all the time. When people come to me saying that they have a lender, I go like, oh my gosh, God help me. Because I have developed such a great relationship with Cristina Fernandez and Sunset Home Mortgage throughout all this year that I can call her on a Sunday, I can call her on a holiday, and I know that she's going to answer. Like today, we went under contract last night on a client, and this morning I text her, hey, my friend, we are under contract, and she said, like, we are, like, let's roll. If the client was working with another lender or with the bank, I wouldn't have any response until tomorrow.
Right. Technically,
So,
yeah. Well, today is a holiday technically when we're recording this.
Yes.
So everyone's closed.
Exactly, but not Cristina.
Exactly.
Cristina. So I will always say to my clients, get the real estate agent first and then work with the trusted advisor that your agent is telling you to work with, because the whole process is going to be faster, it's going to be easier for you, and it's going to be more smooth. And like, I've been working with Cristina for over 16 years now, and I know, like, she has the same mentality, the same mindset that I have with my client about we want to do always what is best for the client. We want to always get the clients the best service, the best rate, the best terms, and that's something that you can get only when you have that relationship.
Absolutely.
Let's put it this way. You want to buy a house, you already talked to the real estate agent, and then that agent already sent you to talk to the lender, and then the lender provides the pre-approval letter to your client. What are the next steps?
When the lender provides the pre-approval letter to the client,
Exactly.
then you can proceed to make an offer.
Exactly.
Right? Because that's maybe the second step in our process is
Yes.
once you have the pre-approval letter, you can make an offer without a pre-approval letter, but nobody will take you seriously, right?
Exactly.
Because they don't know, well, who are you? What are you coming with?
Mm-hmm.
What are you bringing to the table?
Mm-hmm.
So having a pre-approval letter will help you get into the door
Mm-hmm.
and write and send an acceptable offer to where the seller and the listing agent would take you seriously.
100%. After we go under contract, where, like we already meet with the real estate agent, we talk with the lender provide a pre-approval letter. Now we went to see houses, something that I tell my buyers all the time. We don't go to see houses until you are pre-approved. I even have a meme that said so. It says, like, Melinda, you talk to the lender first and then you talk to me.
Right.
Anyways, so then we have the power to go and see houses. And as you were saying, when we send an offer with all the documents, a DU approval, bank statement, and everything that the seller wants to see, what is it that we're doing? We are telling the seller that we will close. This is not about just you sending offers randomly. This is us doing what is right for you, because if you really want this house, how do we make that offer stand out?
Right. And you dropped one key term that maybe the listener doesn't know. You mentioned DU.
Yes.
Do you want to explain what DU is?
Yes, DU is called it's called underwriter approval, and basically what it is the lender will review your taxes, your pay stubs, your bank statements, and then with all that information, they will say, based on everything that you have shown me, I am capable and confident to say that I approve you for X amount of money. And that's exactly what we need. Some people will say only an approval letter. I don't work with approval letter because an approval letter, hello, we are in Miami. Anyone can fake an approval letter. But at DU, you will be going into very hard legal issues if you write a DU with a client that is not qualified to purchase the house. So just a little legal tip right there. I'm not an attorney. It's good to say that, but it's also good for you to have that into consideration. Number two, we went to see houses. We sent the offer. The offer got approved. What is the next step?
The next thing you're going to do, first you will put most likely initial deposit.
Yes.
Depending on the terms of the offer. And then we're going to give you a lovely inspection.
Yes. And on the inspection, something that I always recommend to my buyers is for you, the buyer, do your very best to be at the inspection, because when you go to the inspection, you get the opportunity to see the house from a different eyes. And something that I said to my buyers all the time is, you go to see the house with that excitement. And those eyes are way different from the eyes that you see the house the first time. So when you see the house excited about, oh my God, this is almost mine, where I'm going to put my things, what colors I'm going to paint the walls. If you have kids, you can start even distributing the rooms and say, oh, this going to be Juanito's room, and then it's going to be Antonio's room, and this is going to be Lucecita's room. So you go to see the house with a different perspective, and also you get the opportunity to talk to the inspector. If you have questions, it's not that you're going to, please, guys, let's just make a pause. Don't go to the inspection with the whole family and have the, oh my God, pobrecito los inspectors. And don't be asking questions to the inspector every single minute, because remember, they are there to do a job. If you keep asking them questions and you don't allow them to focus and do their work, they might miss important facts on the house. So, yes, you can come to the house. I don't recommend for you to come with the whole family. Only the person that are buying the house, the wife and the husband, the single lady. When single ladies come, most likely they want their father to be there. That's understandable, because we always need that emotional support from a male, and I understand that. But the bottom line here is just be mindful about the inspection. The inspector is doing a job to protect you. So when the inspector finishes, he will do a summary.
Right, report.
And what is in that report?
Oh, there's so many things in this report. Usually it can be 60 pages. It depends on the inspector.
Yes.
But the inspector will give you things, whether it's frayed wires, upside down outlets,
yes,
things that have a certain lifespan and age expectancy. And
AC, roof,
AC, plumbing, exactly.
Electrical?
Yes.
Electrical.
Because we're electric,
and all
so
that,
electrical.
exactly. After that, or maybe not after that, but during all that process, the lender is working on your mortgage, and the title company, which is another very important part of the process, they are working alongside to make sure everything is on point. So when we get the report, if there's something that we need to negotiate, we can, three things can happen. We can negotiate the inspection, we can get a credit, and I always say this, don't ask for cosmetic stuff. Like the things that I always like to ask for credit for my buyers are any electrical issue, any plumbing issues, any AC issues, roof, foundation, like major stuff.
Major.
But like the outlets, that's nothing. And then you can, number one, negotiate an inspection credit. You can decide, you know what, I don't want this house because it has too many situations and I don't want to deal with all of that. And then you can back out. And the other one is you can come into an agreement, which is most of the time what we do. Like, you know, the buyer will say, okay, I have a transaction where we ask for $50,000, we get $20,000. Everybody was happy, we close, and those are the things. And then after inspection is over, what is the next step?
After the inspection is over, we're going to move on to, most likely, depending on the terms again, is the second deposit.
Exactly. The second deposit. And if you don't have second deposit, then the lender is working. At this time, the lender already has ordered the appraisal.
Right.
And then most likely 10 to 12 days, maximum 15 days, which you'll have the appraisal. And the same thing happen with the inspection. Depending on the terms, what can happen?
Depending on with the appraisal, we can have it reappraised. We can appeal the appraisal, or we can accept.
Or we can accept whatever the amount is. Something that has been happening in Miami due to all the equity that most properties have gotten, you know, throughout the years after COVID, is that we are not getting those appraisal issues anymore. But if it happened, in the case that it happened, this is what you can do. You can go back to the seller with the appraisal and say, well, the appraisal came in this amount, and then we can renegotiate. We can renegotiate the terms. The seller can say yes, or the seller can say no. Or if the seller say no, then if the appraisal was done during the contingency period, then the buyer can back out without putting at risk their deposit. But if the time went by and no one tracked the contingency, well, the buyer might lose their deposit.
Right, for sure. And also, if the appraisal comes back lower, the buyer can also give a greater down payment.
Yes.
Or increase their purchase price.
Yes. If the buyer has enough money to cover that gap between the appraisal and the purchase price, of course. But sometimes people, you know, they are going like very tight with the money, so that's something to consider.
Yes.
After that, the next step is the financing contingency. So basically what is going to happen through that process is that Christina, on this case, from Sunset, she will be working in her team, putting all the items together to make sure that she can provide an what is called a fully approval letter, which means that the file is basically almost ready to close.
For sure. One shout out about Christina is when we were showing the clients the other weekend some houses in Doral, and Luz was like, hey, let Christina know which house that they like, and Christina will run the numbers. And sure enough, Christina ran the numbers, and 2 hours later, she shared them with the clients, and the clients knew exactly what to expect on the house that they loved.
Yes.
So,
and that's absolutely powerful when you have a buyer that is looking to decide between one house and another, because having that accessibility from the lender, that it doesn't matter that it's a weekend, the lender is there all the way with you, like holding hands is honestly something that makes buyer feel very comfortable with the process.
certainly.
Yeah. So after Christina say, yeah, we are clear to close. Clear to close is the favorite word in real estate, CTC. So when Christina said that we are clear to close, then our team from Thomas Hess, they will get all the documents together, and then we will meet at the closing table.
Yes, and of course, do you accompany the clients at the closing table?
Yes. And that's a great question, Anthony. You know what? Because I heard so many things throughout the years. Agents said like, no, We don't go to closings. This is my feeling, and I'm not saying that you need to do X or what, but this is how I feel. The day of the closing is it's like the cherry on the top. So that day is when everything is coming to an end, or a new chapter is beginning for that couple, that family, that single man, single lady. And the only person that they know and they have seen throughout the process is you, the real estate agent. I totally understand that sometimes something like, we're traveling, conferences, whatever, and we cannot be present. But like, this is how I do it. When I am unable to be there, I will video them. I will FaceTime with them and I will say, like, congratulations. I am sorry that I'm not able to be there with you, but I already reviewed all the documents. So that gives the client reassurance that you look at everything and they feel like, oh my God, yeah, like, she's traveling. And even though she's traveling, she find the time to really look at all the documents. I absolutely trust my team at Thomas J. Hess. I've been working with them for over 16 years, and we have such a great relationship between Christina, Paola, and myself. And I know that everything is going to be done right, but I always like to be present for my clients every step of the way.
Could you shed more light on who Paola is and what she does?
Oh, of course, Paola. A big shout out to my dear friend Paola Hess. Paola Hess is the paralegal at Thomas J. Hess, our attorney. They take care of everything legal for our clients, and more than a business partner, we are absolutely very, very good friends. She's like my sister, and we have been helping clients transact in real estate for the past 17 years.
Right, 17 years.
Yes, a long time. So what else can we say about tips for first-time home buyers? Trust the process. Trust your agent. Make sure that your agent has the experience and is surrounded with great people that will able to help you make the right choice.
And so one of the things, that, as we mentioned, real estate is a team sport. And so, of course, you're going to go to the closing. We're going to be there for the clients. But another important bonus tip we could say is after the closing, it's important that if you have any questions, you want to fix something, that you rely on the real estate agent because they have this incredible team that they've built for 17 years, right? And so we have the whole team that if you have a question, you want to make a renovation or remodel, you want to fix something that maybe you don't have the team, you don't have to spend time calling around, getting quotes. You just ask the real estate agent, rely on the real estate agent for after closing, whatever they need, and they can guide you in the right direction.
1,000%. That's something that I always do. I even have a list of vendors that I can provide to my buyers if they need anything. And by saying that, let's wrap it up. And this was our amazing episode about how to buy a house in Miami and tips for first-time home buyers here in Miami. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, we are in YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify, Google. Everywhere you think of us, we will be there just for you. And don't forget to like, share,
subscribe. And this episode was brought to you by Sunset Home Mortgage. So see you in another episode of MIA
Unplugged.